Well, what might Nokia do with all that cash in the bank? Let's ask an independent analyst, Per Lindberg. Welcome. First of all, let's just talk about how they've got all this cash, because really Nokia haven't been doing particularly well of late. How come they've ended up with so much money?
Nokia actually had much more cash back in 2006, 2007 than the net cash position, i.e. after deduction for liabilities, stood at about 10 billion euro. So it has shrunk now at the moment to about 2.6 billion euro, and Nokia may be scaling towards, say, 4 billion euro by the time of the next dividend decision in the spring of 2011. So the answer to your question is that Nokia has been generating tons of cash, Nokia has been buying back shares, Nokia has been distributing cash through dividends, and Nokia has also made some mighty acquisitions, the 5.7 billion euro acquisition of Navtech in 2007.
Let's just talk about that acquisition. There's that. They've also had some smaller acquisitions as well. But yet those companies seem to have sort of got swallowed up within Nokia. Are there acquisitions out there that they should be making? Where should they be looking to spend that cash if they choose to do so?
I think Nokia is still very interested in accelerating the transformation towards a services-orientated business, i.e. combining hardware, the handset hardware, with software intelligence and also services, i.e. in order to battle against Apple, the Google and the Research Emotion in the smartphone space.
I mean, just looking at the smartphones, news out today, probably not much of a surprise to anyone, showing that actually they have decreased their share in that smartphone market. I mean, they're just not really there, are they? Are they likely to try and buy companies to put them there, or how do they go forward with that?
At this moment, Nokia is trying to rebuild its platform. Nokia is going to launch a new handset relatively soon, and that is supposedly going to be at least as capable as the Android Google handsets and the Apple iPhone of today. That will be a true test to Nokia's comeback story in smartphones, and that in turn, I hasten to add, will also have big ramifications for how Nokia decides to use its net cash, again the 3 billion, 4 billion euro that we might see by the end of this year.
And how much do we know about their proposed smartphone?
It's going to be based on the Symbian operating system. Nokia is probably the sole major player that is now taking this approach. Sony Ericsson, former backer, and Motorola are all now embracing Google's Android. So I would also say that Nokia is taking a little bit of a bet now. Nokia has its own quotation mark operating system against the more ubiquitous Google Android. Google is licensing that to anyone that wants to use that platform, and Apple, as we know, is a supreme vertical integrated producer of the iPhone.
And so what is your outlook for the company's future?
I think you should see Nokia as a business based on 3 different segments. I.e. in handsets, we have the basic handsets, the basic phones, where Nokia is battling against the Samsung, LG, the Koreans and the Chinese mainly.
And in certain markets, they're doing quite well in that.
Nokia is still the major player there, but the Asian competitors are coming quite hard, and they are using price as the main differentiator there. So the key question there to me is whether Nokia can maintain, say, a 15% operating margin in the basic phone segments. Then turning to smartphones, where the competitive landscape is completely different. The Apple, the Research Emotion, the Google Android segment, etc. Here Nokia is struggling, and Nokia is actually selling its handsets, its smartphones, at a much lower price point than the competitors. So that is a much more gruesome outlook for Nokia in terms of its market share.
Okay, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that smartphone when it's launched. Per Lindberg, thank you very much for joining us.